What's up, my friends? Today, we're talking about the 2024 military pay chart. That way you can get a good idea as to what you possibly could be making if you join the military in 2024. So this is the 2024 military pay chart. I'll include a link down in the description box down below. That way you can check it out to see everything. But for the most part, this video is mostly geared to you if you're someone who is not yet in the military. If you're someone that is already currently in the military, well, then there's some different factors because it does matter how long you've been in the military to decide on how much you're going to get paid. Now, this is a pay increase. So if you're currently in the military or looking to join the military, this is, I think, 5 point something percent more than last year. So it's a little bit more, right? Maybe not life-changing more or anything, but nonetheless, I want to give you an idea of what to expect. A lot of this will also be mostly geared towards active duty individuals. But before we get into this, military pay chart, there's some things you need to understand about military pay. You're going to start earning, your pay basically day one of that initial training, whether it's basic training, boot camp, whatever. As soon as you arrive at that initial training location, that is when it starts, accumulating for you to earn that pay. So day one, you actually start earning pay. You don't have to wait until you graduate initial training. Day one of training, you start earning pay. That pay is going to be direct deposited into your account. So you're not going to receive like a physical check or anything. It's just direct deposited, and it's direct deposited on the 1st and the 15th of every month. Now, if the 1st or the 15th happens to fall like on a weekend or a holiday, then you get paid prior to that weekend or holiday. Most banks, or some banks anyways, like federal credit unions and stuff like that, they may pay you like the day prior anyways, but know that you're going to get paid around the 1st and the 15th. Your pay, though, is based on your rank and your time of service. So it doesn't matter if you're an infantry individual in the Army or a cook in the Army or whatever branch of service type of thing. That's not what matters. It matters what rank you're at, what pay grade you are, and how long you've been in the military that determines your pay. I'm going to focus first on base pay, and then I'm going to give you some other kind of, possibilities for if you're a married soldier as well. But just note that base pay does not include those additional things for like housing or other benefits you might qualify for. I'll be talking about those a little bit later on. We're only talking about base pay. Also note that military pay is before taxes, right? Your taxes may vary based on where your home of record's at. If you're from a certain state that does not actually charge service members, state income tax, then you might not have to worry about it. And all you have to do is pay federal and Social Security and all that kind of stuff. But if you are in one of those states that do still charge taxes, then it depends on the state as far as how much they actually takes out. So just be aware that this base pay is just before they take out taxes. So taxes still have to come out of that. But only the base pay is taxed. BAH and BAS, that's for housing and for food, that is non-taxable. The only part that is actually getting taxed is that base pay. All right, so let's get into things. Let's start off with if you're an E1, right? You're starting off bare bones into the military. You didn't get anybody to join. You don't have any college education, nothing. You're fresh out of high school type of thing. You're coming in at the very bottom as an E1. What does that look like? Well, an E1 that has been in the military for less than 4 months makes $1,865 before taxes get taken out. After you've been in for more than 4 months, then it bumps up a little bit. But as I said, you get paid twice a month. So you're going to get paid on that 1st and the 15th. And that is going to be $932 per paycheck if you're someone that's an E1 less than 4 months. Once you do get past that 4-month period, but you're less than 2 years, that is $2,017 per month, which equates to $1,008 per paycheck on the 1st and the 15th before taxes get taken out. Now, you could come into the military as an E2, and typically if you work with your recruiters, you probably can easily come into the military as an E2. You do some things like the Future Soldier program in the Army or other programs where you spend some time with your recruiter, you can possibly come into the military as an E2. Maybe you get a friend to join, maybe you have a little bit of ROTC background, whatever. You can come into the military as an E2 and start off making a little bit more money. So what does that look like? Well, an E2's monthly pay for 2024 is going to be $2,261 per month, which comes out to $1,130 per paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. And that is $112 more than what you would have been making if you joined in 2023. So maybe you come into the military as an E3. Maybe you've already got an associate's degree. You got several people to join the military. Maybe you did several years of ROTC in high school type of thing. Well, that is going to bring you $2,378 per month, which comes out to $1,189 per paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. And that is $119 more per month than if you joined in 2023. Next, you have the pay grade of an E4. If you already have a bachelor's degree, then that might be possible to come in as an E4. Outside of that, there's not really much you can do to come in as an E4 unless you're prior service or you have a bachelor's degree. Otherwise, those are kind of the very few, kind of common ways that someone could possibly come in as an E4. But if that's your scenario, less than 2 years in the military, you're going to be making $2,634 per month, which comes out to $1,317 per paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. And that is $131 more than what you were making last year, or if you joined last year in 2023. Now, if you do already have a bachelor's degree and you're going to go the officer route, you're going to go through OCS, or you're doing an ROTC program, you're coming in as a lieutenant or an O1, then that looks like $3,637 per month, which comes out to $1,913 per paycheck before taxes get taken out. And that is $189 more per month than if you had commissioned in 2023. So let's go over some pay scenarios, right? Because if you're a married soldier, a married service member coming into the military, it looks a little bit different, right? So a little bit, this is more examples for like Army, but it's pretty close to probably about the same, for Air Force or Marines or whatever the case is. I'm just kind of going to be giving an Army specific example, but nonetheless, the amount will probably be roughly the same depending on your area. So you're trying to figure out, hey, looking at that base pay chart, that's way too low to be able to provide for my family. I can get a better job somewhere else that pays way better to provide for my family. Well, if you're married and you qualify for BAH, that basic allowance for housing, or BAS for that subsistence, for that food, then you get paid extra for those kinds of things. So let me give you an idea as to what your pay might look like if you fall into that category. The example we're going to use is an E2 stationed at Fort Carson. So you're in the Army, you're an E2 stationed at Fort Carson because it matters where you're located at to kind of estimate, what they need to pay you for that local area. If it's an expensive area, if it's not an expensive area, all that kind of stuff. So it matters where you live. So you have that base pay for an E2, that's $2,261. You receive BAH, that basic allowance for housing for the Colorado Springs area, right? That's $2,079. Then you have that BAS, which is supposed to be just really for the soldier for food. And then if you need additional funds for like your family for food, then that's supposed to come out of your base pay. But that BAS rate for, for that E2 or for enlisted soldiers in general is $460. So that comes out to $4,800 per month. And that is $2,400 per paycheck on the 1st and the 15th before taxes get taken out. So that's what you have to actually kind of work with to, to see what you're going to get if you're coming in as an E2 married, receiving all those extra benefits to be able to pay for rent and everything. If you're coming in at a higher rank, then it'll be much more. And I don't give the example of E1 because you're usually only E1 for maybe like 6 months. If you're curious as to what this equals to, like if you're looking at a civilian job, roughly equals to about $27.75 per hour having a civilian job to make roughly that amount of pay. But you're also gonna have to account that that wouldn't also cover you medically like they do in the military, because the military covers you 100%. If you want to try to calculate your own kind of scenario, it's very easy to do. All you really would have to do is take the base pay for your rank and how long you've been in, BAH for your duty station. So if you're gonna be stationed, California, Colorado, New Mexico, whatever the case is, right? You have to look it up online to see what the BAH rate for that area is at. And then for BAS, that food for enlisted soldiers, that's $460.25. Officers receive $316.98. So add that all together, you get your monthly pay. And then, of course, you divide that in half and you're going to get what your paycheck roughly will be on the 1st and the 15th before taxes are taken out. So when you're looking at your pay, you got to understand, from both sides, from the military side and the civilian side, right? If you are on the civilian side, right, they are not, for the most part, going to pay you extra money so that way you can, have housing, so you can pay rent. The military does, right? If you're in that scenario where you're married, they pay you extra. If you're single, they provide you with a place to live. Depending on the branch of service you join, may depend on how good or bad it is, but nonetheless, they provide you with a free place to live. On the civilian side, most employers, if any, do not go and pay you extra for food, right? On the military side, they do. If you're single, they provide you with a place to go get some food that is okay. So maybe in some branches, it's better than others, right? Kind of type of thing. But nonetheless, they provide you with that free food that you can go to go eat. And then also, you're gonna be able to receive that 100% medical. So if you get injured, you're having a family, and you want to have a baby, all sorts of things, everything is 100% covered. No copay, none of that stuff like that. I don't think there's any civilian employers out there that will cover you that way to be able to allow you to have basically everything taken care of without any copay, without any kind of deductible that have to be met or anything else like that. The military, has probably the best medical kind of coverage. Maybe not the best in some cases, the best, medical assistance or the best medical facilities compared to some civilian places, but nonetheless, coverage wise, probably the best that you can possibly get. So those factors have to be added into there, right? You have your pay, and if you're trying to look at that as, hey, I can make better money on the civilian side, then great. Maybe that's worth it to you to not join the military and just go get that better job type of thing. But if you are going to join the military, these are the factors to kind of consider when you're trying to decide, should I join the military? How much am I going to be making? How much am I going to be, get in my bank account to be able to use to support my family? Or if you're single, how much money am I making to buy some Xbox games and PlayStation games or whatever? Now, as I said, down in the description box down below, I'll have a link down inside of there for you to be able to look at the full chart if you want to kind of get an example. You're already in, you're already in the military and you just want to see what your pay is going to go up to in 2024, whatever the case, right? You can check it out down below. If you know somebody that maybe could benefit from this information, make sure you're sharing it. A lot of the examples that maybe I've given somewhere in here, might equate to more of the Army side because, that's what my background's in the Army, right? I was a soldier on active duty in the Army. So my examples are given the Army. You're looking at the pay maybe to see what it's going to be like to join the military. And if the branch of service you're going to be joining is the Army, maybe subscribe to the channel, right? There's a lot of content on here that I give, to help you get the full picture of what it's like to be in the Army, not just the pay, because there's other factors in there that, have to make the decision of if it's worth it or not to join the military, to join the Army. So make sure if the Army is what you're looking at, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up for me. I'm Christopher Chaos, and I'll see you next time. See ya.